The speaker is an artist, a realtor, a public speaker. As an artist, he is a deep thinker with an analytical mind that with the help of a simple brush or pencil, he could make something out of nothing into a masterpiece. As a realtor, he has formulated, developed, and crafted mastery in sales, accounting, administration, and management. And because through his talent and experience, influencing the audience is an understatement. With his style and unique concept and perspective, he is able to catapult the audience to move and put in action his ideas into reality. A speaker of par excellence, let us all welcome Patrick Raymond.
All right, who has the time? What time is it? Is it time to move on? It's all about time. Madam Toastmaster, thank you, that was so gracious. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guest. When the human body is at rest, it beats about 60 times a minute. It is our own personal time clock. From the beginning of human time, we measure, calculate, analyze, and then we forecast so we can make sense of the world that we live in. Because we are human, we work on two principles mainly, and these two principles are very key, and we do this daily, and we do it without even thinking. And one of them is time, and the other is space. Now let's talk a little bit about time. About 700 BC, in Babylonian, the mathematicians and the people that studied the stars got together and they came out with what we practice today. There's a 12-month year, a 30-day month, a 60-minute hour, and a 60-second minute. Now today we refined it a little bit, but the principles are all the same from that time on and has been adopted by the world on the way that we measure time. Now, I spoke that there are two elements that we work with every day to make sense of our world. And the second one is space. We understand forward, backwards, side to side, up and down, north, south, east, west. We get our information based on the way that we perceive space. If I said to you, let's go have coffee, I know each and every one of you would go, yeah, let's do it. But if I stopped there, it wouldn't happen. Now, because most of you have been into a Starbucks, and I say, well, let's go to a Starbucks, you have a preconceived idea because Starbucks has a pretty good system on the way that they build. And so in your head, you already have a sense of space. But still, we would not have coffee. I would say then, well, let's have coffee at Starbucks on Grand Street. And for those that live in the area, you understand it's between Oak Street and Park Street, or Elm Street, excuse me. So now you have a very specific place in space. But still, we wouldn't have coffee. Then I say, well, let's meet in 15 minutes, half hour. Maybe tomorrow at 12:30. Now I have put a very specific time to a very specific place. Now, you say to yourself, okay, but this is what we do every day. When you wake up and you have somewhere to go and you have a job to go, you wake up thinking, I have to wake up and get somewhere at a place at a certain time. And we do this day in and day out. We even do this when we get ready to go to lunch. When we get off work, we do this when we have to go grocery shopping. We're constantly, daily, always thinking about space and time. Reminds me a little bit about my first experience with time. I was sitting at a dining room table with my dad and my mom. What you need to understand is my dad always liked to read the newspaper. But he was the weekend mechanic. And as he was studying the paper, the door knocked. And my mom got up, and in quick time, she answered the door. And in no time at all, she came back. And here's what she said. Mrs. Smith from across the street wants to know when her car is going to be done. Without deviation and straight focus, my dad did not move a muscle, but he said these words. Tell her Sunday. My mom, in no time flat, went to go deliver the news, and my dad bent over the paper, looked over at me, and he said, just don't tell her which Sunday. If you think about it, we live by a clock. We live by a measurement of a time. We set what we do out in our time. So I started thinking about this more and more, about time. Imagine, if you would, with me, just play along. If you woke up one morning and you checked into your bank account and there was $86,400 deposited into your account, you would be like me, you're going, Yahoo! Yeah! That's great! And then you get an email, and the email states that anonymously someone has deposited this money into your account. But there is a caveat, and it is this. You can spend that money any way you want, but at the end of the day, it disappears. You cannot carry it over into the next day, you cannot accrue it in the next day, and nor can it make any interest on itself. How are you going to spend that money? Is it going to be on your security? Is it going to be on your health? Is it going to be on your personal enjoyment? How are you going to invest that money? Now, as you read further down in the email, it says this. Every day, you get a new deposit of $86,400 into your account. How wonderful is that to know that you can wake up and spend that money? Can you spend $86,400 in a day? And what would you invest it in or on? Here's the fun part. We all have that bank. And we call it the bank of time because there are 86,400 seconds every day, which means there are 86,400 every day. But at the end of the day, it's gone. The question to you is, how are you spending your time? How are you investing your time? Ask any student that got set back a year because they failed a class how valuable that year was to them. Ask any editor that has to put out a weekly magazine, how valuable is a week or a day out of that week? Ask any new lover when they're awaiting the arrival to be picked up by another, how valuable that hour is. Ask anyone that has missed a train, or a plane, or a bus. How valuable is that minute? How about those that have survived a near fatal accident? How valuable was that second to them? Ask any silver medal winner or second place winner how valuable a millisecond is. Time, and I know you've heard this, and I'm going to say it again, is money. It is the only true currency that we each and every one of us has. It is the only thing that we have that has true measurable amount of value that we each have equally, is our time. This reminds me of a story about a young pastor. And this pastor just finished seminary school. And he was asked to give a eulogy for a friend. And at this eulogy, it was in a different town. Now, he had prepared and he was happy to do this, and he even left a little bit earlier, but he got stuck on the 405 and he was 45 minutes late to the cemetery. And when he got there, it looked barren. But back over in the corner, he could see a little mound, and it looked like there were some people there. So he scurried over there. And there were 3 men standing there, and he hopped out, and he says, I know I'm late, but I really have put my heart and soul into this eulogy. Can I give this eulogy? And he looked at the 3 men, and they all nodded their head, and they said yes. And he delivered the eulogy of a lifetime. And when he raised his hand in amen, all 3 men started busting out hysterically. They could not stop laughing. And one of the men composed himself long enough, and this is what he said. It was the best sermon I've ever heard for a septic tank in my whole life. When we talk about time, what opportunities have you missed? Where has the time that it takes for you to be prepared, to be in the ready for when the next opportunity comes, have you missed? I know time is valuable, and I know it for this reason. For whenever they're asked, whatever regrets you may have, the top 3 is, I wish I had more time. If I had known what I know today, I would have spent more time. I wanted to invest more time with someone else. When we look at the way that we look at time, we often excuse it as just something that we get used to doing, and we forget how valuable it actually is. Now, you Toastmasters that are in this room have made a commitment of your valuable time. And you have made this commitment to come and learn and to grow and to be able to exercise in preparedness to that time that you will have the opportunity to talk about something that you're passionate about. You will have that opportunity to be able to stand up and deliver and say what you truly mean. You have put forth whatever you needed to do by giving up a piece of your time. My question that I always pose to you, as I pose to myself every morning, where am I putting my time? Is my time with people that are sucking my energy? Are they with people that are negative? Are they people that are trying to build me up? Are they people trying to foster my growth? Am I spending time with my loved ones, the ones that I care about? Am I showing them who I am? Am I spending time, taking time for myself? Am I getting exercise? Am I taking time out? Am I doing the right things? Am I looking at my day every day and putting a value to my time? Because when we start practicing looking at your time, you're going to find some things are going to go away. And some things are going to start filling in. Because you're going to start realizing you only have X amount of time. Where are you putting your time? And it's easy. Let me tell you just how easy it is. When you start thinking about what am I doing right now? Right now. Is my time serving me the best? If you do that at least 3 times a day, not only are you going to have more time, you're going to do better with your time, you're going to achieve better things in your time, you're going to be more successful, you're going to have a healthier life, and you're going to be happier. Only because you do one thing, and one thing only, and that's paying attention to one thing, and it's the only thing that we have, and that is easy and as instinctive as your heartbeat. It's about time. Thank you.